Y ahora a lo que venimos. And for my Hispanically challenged folks out there, I pretty much said, and now, the moment you've all been waiting for. Just not in so many words. It's time to read and reflect on some of my free writing that can be found at spuntoday.com/free writing. Full disclosure, these are two pieces that I shared on the podcast about 3 years ago. But in keeping with the advice of folks like Governor Cuomo and comedian Andrew Schultz that have been really advocating to, find the silver lining in these tough times and try to make the best out of your quarantine and get to reading that book that you've been putting off, that you always say that you're going to read and you never do. Get to writing that book that you've been wanting to write. Watch that show, write that script, paint that portrait, embrace your creativity. So in that spirit, I dug in the crates of the Spun Today free writing session, and I pulled out two pieces that I feel could possibly aid you in that pursuit. And the first one that I'm going to share is titled, Like a White Light Going Through a Prism. And I posted that on the website on September 16th, 2017. But it's actually a piece that I wrote a few years before that in 2014. And if you'd like to read along, I linked to it in the episode notes. Like a white light going through a prism. Whenever inspiration hits you, it's probably not a conscious decision. It's more of an epiphany. Let it take its course. Let it ooze out of you in whatever form or medium it takes. Express it however it wants to be expressed. Release it. Let it out. Don't trap it, bottle it up, and allow it to go stale. Don't harbor it and, quote, save it for later. It won't be there later. At least not in the same way that it was. And the best part, it's infinite, ever expanding. You couldn't waste it if you tried. Ride its wave and elevate yourself, and possibly even others for doing so. How great of a plus is that? So whether it's a song, a quote, a book, a line in a movie, an instrumental solo, a laugh, in anything that gives you a momentary glimpse into the self-perpetuating purity that is inspiration, embrace it and run with it. Because although the stream can't be wasted, the moment can be. Like a white light going through a prism and coming out of the other side as an array of different colors. Allow it not only to enter you in that unexpected form, but also allow it to come out of you, expressed in its intended form. And I wrote that on Sunday, February 16th, 2014 at 12:02 p.m. A lot of what comes out in these free writing sessions for me is a flow state, a stream of consciousness, a pen to paper and write whatever comes to mind. And when I do that, it's cathartic, as I've shared on the podcast time and time again. It helps detangle things in your mind. And I truly do believe that it's sometimes you do have like lightning in a bottle moments, not necessarily of, the next greatest thing since sliced bread, writing piece or idea or whatever, but something that is fleeting in that if you don't capture, if you don't get it down on paper, if you, quote, save it for later, like I say there, it's just not there later. You forget it. It could be an idea for a character, an idea for a line or a story, and you're like, oh, I'm definitely going to remember this in the morning, because you don't want to get up out of bed to jot it down. And then time and time again, the next morning comes and you don't remember shit. Then you're kicking yourself about it. So I'm speaking to those type of moments. Well, at least that's what I'm getting from this piece right now as I'm, reading it back. And I speak to how those moments come and go. They can definitely be gone. You can definitely waste those. But the stream of it, of inspiration, of motivation, is always there. You just have to tap into it. And sometimes it taps into you. And when it does, in those times that I reference, like an instrumental solo or a line in the movie or a quote or something that sparks some sort of momentum within you, It's absolutely on you to act on that. And if you don't, when you don't, know that you're running the risk of never having that specific moment again. And the fucked up thing is that you never know what those specific moments can become. Like Margaret Atwood, for example, that we were speaking about before at the beginning of the show. Would she have had the idea for The Handmaid's Tale if she wasn't going through her mother's old belongings after she passed? Or take it a step further, when she did have the idea from reading that classified, when that seed was planted, what if she would have treated that moment like, I'll remember that later, and then just never got back to it? So I hope this piece not helps you find inspiration, because inspiration is technically around you all the time. I hope it helps you see the inspiration that is already around you. More importantly, helps you to remember the importance of acting on it and doing something about it when you do feel that inkling of inspiration. And again, that post is like a white light going through a prism. And last but not least is follow your unique light. I posted that also on September 16th, 2017 to the website, and similarly wrote it a few years earlier in 2014. And here it goes. The combination of thoughts, experiments, and experiences that it takes to be you in this realm is irreplaceable. To allow fear and insecurity to blanket the innate selfishness that is not expressing yourself is a disservice to your evolution as a person and to your influence on the evolution of others. How dare you take that cowardly route? Be you 24/7, 365, and 366 in the leap year. And don't you ever look back. At least not in a questioning or resenting way. We shouldn't have a choice in the matter. Let the light that's inside you shine through. Let it light your path. The path that is only walkable by you. It's okay to find yourself and figure things out by going through different experiences in life. But it's not okay to find solace and comfort in one of those experiences and pigeonhole yourself into it because of a sense of security among all else. Shake things up a bit until that sense of security that you're searching for is implicit and just part of the package deal, realized by the second nature feeling that is living your dream. Follow your unique light. And I wrote that on March 23rd, 2014 at 12:03 p.m. All right, I think I went a little bit hard on the how dare you take that cowardly route. We shouldn't have a choice in the matter portions of this piece. But that aside, I get the sentiment of it. Kind of ties into what we were speaking about before in how your actions, ability to put yourself out there through your work, through your art, can help and impact others. If you take the quote-unquote cowardly route, which I don't necessarily think I would call that now, but if you take the safe route of not putting yourself out there and not pursuing something that you're passionate about for whatever reason, because you have a family to look after and you don't have time to dedicate to this thing that you're passionate about because you're working 2 jobs and trying to put food on the table, or fill in the blank, whatever the reason is, that doesn't make you a bad person, obviously. And everybody's circumstances are different, but in a very general sense, the lack of pursuing what it is that you're into never winds up having the potential of impacting and helping and sparking it in someone else. And I also appreciate the last sentence here, which is shake things up until that sense of security that you're searching for is implicit and part of the package deal, realized by the second nature feeling that is living your dream. Meaning that sense of security that oftentimes can turn into a false security because you're technically assuming somebody else's risk. That sense of security that you find comfort in, shake things up by following your dream, by following a dream of yours and immersing yourself in it to the point that that feeling, the way it must feel of truly doing what you love, that becomes the number one thing. And the whole security and safety piece of it just winds up being part of that package deal. just wanted to be part of that experience because you are putting the living your dream on such a high pedestal and loving it and being fascinated with it and working at it and making it work to the point that the security comes with it eventually. Or at least that's how I envision things eventually becoming once you guys share and subscribe to the Spun Today podcast, share with all your friends and family, and purchase tons of my books to also share with your friends and families for their birthdays and Christmas and all that good stuff. So that I can turn this part-time hobby into a full-time hobby one day, right?